Hi, it's Phil here from Revive My Ride. Today I'm going to show you every step and everything you need to know to change the spark plugs on an Audi B8 S4. This will include how and what to remove to gain access to the plugs, airbox, expansion tank, electrical connections and coil packs, and of course removing the spark plugs themselves, setting them to the correct gap, and then refitting them to the correct torque. As you can see, this car has a very compact engine bay, so access is the first hurdle for you. On one side you will need to remove the air intake and airbox, and on the other you'll need to loosen the coolant expansion tank to gain access. Okay, the first thing we need to do is remove this front slam panel. The reason for this is that it allows the air intake just here to be removed. As you can see here, the slam panel is held on by 4 torque screws. The screws aren't really that tight, so you should be able to remove them easily with the screwdriver without needing a ratchet. Later model cars might have plastic push fittings here instead of screws. To remove these plastic rivets, you push down in the middle and then you pull up on the rivet itself. It's really easy to lose the middle part though, so be careful not to push it too far. I'll put the part number for the rivet in the description below. With the screws removed, all you have to do is lift up the back edge and then slide the panel backwards towards the engine. Now you can see the 2 screws that hold the air intake in place. Go ahead and take those out, and then it's an easy job just to slide it forward to remove it. Okay, onto the airbox. Next we need to loosen the Jubilee clip just here that holds the inlet hose to the airbox. So go ahead and grab a flat bladed screwdriver or a 7mm socket and get it loosened off. With that done, you should be able to just wiggle the hose a bit and pull it free. Okay, now it's time to take the top off of the airbox. There's 5 screws that you can see on the top here, but there's also 2 hidden ones. One's on this side and the other one's just here. We're using the torque screwdriver again to loosen them off, but please be aware that the screws remain captive, so they move up and you loosen them off, but you don't actually remove them. Here I'm just showing the 2 hidden screws at the back of the airbox, just trying to give you a good close-up view so you can see exactly where they are. Now with all of the screws removed, the lid in the air filter will lift right out. The base of the airbox also lifts out, but there's a little hose just off to one side, so you need to use an adjustable wrench just to squeeze the fitting, and then that should just pull off quite easily. So with a small hose detached, you can remove the airbox the rest of the way. The next job is to undo the 2 screws that hold the electrical connectors to the coil packs in place. Okay, so back with the torque screwdriver then, and the T20 bit, and we'll remove each of those 2 screws. There's a couple of electrical connectors that are on this part of the wiring harness that also need to be removed. In order to remove this type of fitting, there's a little grey part on the fitting, and that needs to be pulled upwards. And then once it's been extended, then you can squeeze it and pull up on the fitting. So here it is again, pushing up on the grey part of the fitting, and then squeezing on it, and then pulling up on the fitting at the same time. Next we need to undo the electrical connections to the coil packs. To do this, you can use a screwdriver to gently lift up on the tab and then slide the electrical connection back. It's really easy to break these though, so please be careful. Some of these were already broken by the previous owner. If they do break, it's not the end of the world because the screws we undid earlier keep the connections in place. With that done, we're ready to remove the coil packs. If you're lucky, you'll be able to just wiggle them side to side and pull up with your fingers, and they'll pop right loose just like this one did. Just for info, it's best practice to make sure the coil pack goes back to the same cylinder it came from, so probably best to lay them out so you know which one came from where. Sometimes if the coil pack's really tight, you might have to use a lever like this to get it loose. So the intake hose is pretty flexible, so you can just move it around just like this in order to get the coil pack out. Now we're ready to remove the spark plugs, and to do this we'll need a 16mm spark plug socket. Make sure you don't try to use a standard socket for this, because spark plug sockets are specially designed. First of all, they're a long socket which allows a spark plug to fit inside it, but they also have a rubber grommet inside which grips the spark plug and makes it easy to remove them in refitting. The rubber grommet also protects the ceramic and prevents it from being cracked during fitting. You'll also need a long extension bar for your ratchet, so here I'm using a 10-inch or 250mm one. This is to give the reach down onto the spark plug. Now you can lower the spark plug socket into the engine and then just turn it a little bit by hand until you feel it engage with the spark plug. Once you've done that, you can use the ratchet to break the spark plug loose. After a couple of turns, you can remove the ratchet and then just spin the spark plug loose just using the extension bar. As you can see, the rubber grommet in the spark plug socket is gripping the spark plug and allowing it to be extracted. Before fitting the new plugs, I'm just going to do a quick comparison of the old part versus the new, just to make sure that they're exactly the same. The key point is the amount of the plug that protrudes into the cylinder. I'm just going to show this a bit more clearly on the bench using two old plugs. This is what you're looking for, the length of the plug from here to here, and checking that it's the same. This is the part that sticks into the cylinder, and if it's wrong, then the piston can come up and hit the plug, causing engine damage, so it's really important that it's right. Now I'm going to use a set of feeler gauges to check and set the spark plug gaps. For this spark plug and this car, I'm going to be using 0.028 inches or 0.711mm as my target. So you can see it printed on these two feeler gauges here. So what you do is you just combine two feeler gauges to give you the thickness that you're looking for. What you're trying to achieve is something called an interference fit, where the feeler gauge fits into the gap but it's a little bit tight without being too tight and becoming stuck. On this occasion the gap's a little bit too big, so I'm going to just tap the spark plug gently onto a hard surface, just incrementally a little bit at a time, and keep checking with the feeler gauge again to see if I've closed the gap up. Here you can see that I've got it about right because the feeler gauge fits, but it's just a little bit tight. If you find the gap is a little bit too tight, then what I do is I use a small pair of angled needle nose pliers to gently lift the ground electrode and increase the gap. Now you need to make sure you don't touch and damage the tip, especially on a titanium or on a platinum plug. You can also get a gapping tool designed for this purpose. I'll provide a link for it in the description below. This next step is optional, so if any of your coil packs were a little bit tight coming off, then you can use some dielectric grease to make them easier to refit. It'll just make sure that the coil pack slides onto the plug more easily. So you apply the grease to the ceramic just here on the spark plug, but be careful, dielectric grease is not conductive, so don't get any on the electrode or on the terminal parts of the plug. As you can see, all you need is a very thin layer of the dielectric grease on the ceramic. With the plug gapped, we're ready to refit it again. So here I've got a small torque wrench and I'm setting it to 30 Newton meters. You can get the settings from the spark plug manufacturer's website, so I'll put a link to NGK in the description below. Okay, we're ready to get the new plugs fitted. So insert the plug into the spark plug socket and then gently lower it down into the engine. Now we're going to screw the plug in place by hand. Never use a ratchet at this point. The reason for this is that when using a ratchet, it's possible to cross-thread the plug in the head and damage the head. You'll know if the plug starts to become cross-threaded because it'll only go a couple of turns and then it'll start to get tight. If this happens, then back it off and try again. Now with the spark plug fully applied by hand, we can use the torque wrench to apply the final torque to it. So go ahead and fit the torque wrench and then turn it until it clicks. And then that's it, that's that plug fitted. All we have to do now is repeat the process for the next cylinder. So using the ratchet to break the plug free, then screwing it out by hand, refitting the new plug and then torquing it into place. And just repeating that process again for the third cylinder. With all the plugs refitted, we can now put the coil packs back in place. So remembering to put them back to the cylinder that they came from, we just push them down until we feel them engage with the spark plug below. Now we can go ahead and slide the coil pack electrical connectors back into place and then re-secure them with the two securing screws that you removed earlier. Make sure you reattach the two electrical connectors from earlier, so here's the first one and here's the second. When refitting the airbox, you need to make sure that the mounting posts on the bottom of the airbox go into these holes. Don't forget to reconnect the breather hose as well. So make a start by reconnecting the hose first. And then also there's a lug on the left hand side that needs to be fitted into a bracket. So with that done, you can push the airbox down into place. You should feel the lugs on the bottom engage into the holes. The next job is to put the airbox lid and filter back in place. This just drops into place, but you do have to line up the inlet hose as you're refitting it. With the lid back in place, we now have to retighten all the screws. So I just work my way around all of them, tightening them up just a little bit and then going back around again. Don't forget the two hidden ones though, just at the back here and here. Okay, time to reconnect the inlet hose. So first of all, make sure that it's pushed all the way on, and then using a flat bladed screwdriver, just tighten up the Jubilee clip. Okay, next up is the air intake scoop. The scoop has some clips on the back of it, which you can see here, and these correspond with lugs on the intake hose. Make sure you line these up as you're fitting them, and it'll all snap together really well. With it all pushed back together properly, you can now go ahead and fix it in place with the two retaining screws. Now we're ready to refit the slam panel. Similar to what we've just done, there's some lugs on the slam panel, and they correspond to some lugs here just on the grille. So again, just make sure that you line these up. The trick is to slide the panel from the back forward onto the lugs. Once you've got that all nice and secure, then we've just got the screws to put back that we removed earlier. So this car had 4 torque screws, but if you remember from earlier in the video, then your car might have 4 plastic rivets here. With that side of the engine done, we can now turn our attention to the other side. Now on this side, the only thing restricting access is this expansion tank here. It has a couple of screws at the back, just here and here, which need to be undone so that you can move the expansion tank out of the way. You don't need to remove it entirely, just enough so that you can move it around to get the access that you need. I'm just using a 10mm socket to remove the nuts. There's also a hose that needs to be removed, so you just use a small screwdriver to lift up on this clip here like this, and then it'll just pull off quite easily. Now there's 3 electrical connectors that need to be undone. The first 2 are here and here, and to get access to the second one you need to pop loose this engine cover. It just snaps into place, so it's really easy just to pop it loose and remove it. The electrical connectors are similar to the ones that we did before. So there's a grey tab that you lift up, and then you squeeze the fitting and lift up on it. The third electrical connector is actually just down here out of the way, and it's a little bit harder to reach. So I actually used a small pair of needle nose pliers to squeeze the clip and to remove it. Okay, now that all of the 3 plugs are disconnected, all we need to do is feed the plugs through so that we can move them out of the way. Now, in order to get access to the coil packs and the screws that hold the brackets in place, etc., you'll need to lift up the expansion tank and pop it off of its mounting points. And then you just leave it sitting there basically, because what you'll find is you need to move it around a few times as you do in the rest of the job now, depending on which spark plug you're trying to access. From this point onwards, the rest of this side of the engine is the same as what you've already done. The coil packs are secured in the same way, and the plug removal and refitting is exactly the same as well. So I don't propose to cover that more with video and commentary. So once you've done the spark plugs and the coil packs etc. on this side, then you'll need to put the expansion tank back again. So when putting it back in place, make sure that this rubber peg stroke grommet here goes into the hole in the bodywork. It should look like this once you've pushed it back in place. After that, you'll be able to put the 2 securing nuts back in place. And then not forgetting to reconnect the hose that we disconnected earlier. Okay, we're starting to get there now. So now we have these 3 electrical connectors that we disconnected earlier, And we just need to feed these through back into place. So under these hoses and cables here, and putting the connectors back where they need to go onto the plugs. And then of course just reconnect each one of them. They should just push and click into place. So starting with the first one, which is located down here just out of the way, and then the second one just here, and then finally the third one. With that done, we just have to refit this little engine cover, which just pushes and clicks into place. I hope you found the video helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please consider subscribing to see more content. As always, tools and parts are in the description below. Thanks, see you next time.